You don't want to be delusional and be like, this business is 100% going to work. No one knows that.
Yep.
No, the reality is no one knows. The market's going to change. COVID is going to happen. Things are unpredictable. So
when things like that happen, like all you gotta know is you figure your way out of it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Also, kind of on some level, less people know what they're doing than you think. And so that gave me a lot of freedom and permission to be like, well, if they can do it, then I should go for it. Yeah. I saw a lot of people that probably live in Miami now that were like, and I would look at the person on social media and I'd be like, he is not that smart and he's making like $30K a month and I'm pissed. And I was,
He's not that smart, bro. I can do that.
I was like, if he can do it, I got to do something.
Alright guys, welcome into another episode of Manny Talks, and today I'm excited, man, because we have here in the house a good friend of mine, met a few years ago, and it's crazy to see the growth that he has had and how many people he's been able to help on his journey. He is, as you guys, most of you guys know him, Eli, the travel guy. Welcome into the
Thank
show,
you, man. Appreciate you having me.
It's great to have you.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to tell the people a little bit about you, your story, your journey, your business, and most of all, basically what we talk about in the show, how to start, build, and scale your business, right? That's what it's all about. So let's get right into it, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Quick 30, 60 seconds that you would say that, you know, for the audience to get to know you,
Sure.
right, who you are, what you do, right, from the top to bottom.
Yep.
And then we'll kick it off from there.
Cool, man. Yeah, so I mean, at heart, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a travel lover. I'm an adventurer. And those are really the things that I value the most, and my life has kind of been a reflection of that. So from an early age, early into my like adult life, I started to fall in love with travel. And really it was this curiosity to want to see the world and curiosity to meet other people, meet other cultures, see different ways of life and how different people value different things. And I was always just fascinated by people. And so that was kind of the driver. And then I fell into the travel industry. I spent the first 7 years of my career building an international tour company. So we would take sports teams on tours overseas. Through that, long story short, I had a bunch of wealthy friends. I didn't have a lot of money. They wanted to take trips, and I was like, well, they all went to Wall Street, and I started a company, so if I want to travel with them, I have to figure out a better way. So I figured out this credit card points thing, and then I got hooked. And so I dove in really deep. What started as like a kind of a necessity became like a hobby, and then kind of a passion, then an obsession, and then I, like basically turned into a side hustle, and then blew up into a whole business. We've got a 15-person team.
Nice.
And that's pretty much what we do. So we're mostly working with business owners, helping them optimize their credit card points for more optimal travel, better luxury travel, and just being more efficient with the money that they're spending already. And so that's a little bit of the background of where I'm at today.
That's amazing, man. And it's crazy because a lot of business owners, they have crazy spending, right?
Yeah.
But they don't understand the value of what they could actually do with those points.
Exactly.
And I mean, the map came in clutch, right?
Right there. Yeah, this is perfect.
The map is perfect for this episode because you've been all over the world. I saw on your Instagram, you're a little bit over 42 countries, is it? I mean, that's amazing. And kind of like piggybacking on what you said, is getting to know the people, the cultures, like, I feel travel just opens up your eyes to a whole nother, thing, because you get to see the poor, you get to see the broke, you get to see like every different, social class out there.
Yeah.
So I feel it opens up your mind like crazy. But you were working corporate, right? For the sport team, you said, that, like helping sport teams travel and all of that. What were you doing there? Kind of like logistics or?
Yeah. So basically, the way that it kind of unfolded, I'll give you a little bit of the backstory. I was studying abroad in Barcelona. Okay. My former high school baseball coach had started a company, so it was a really small business. And he was like, hey, can you help us out with planning some of these trips? Because they were sending a youth baseball team over there. I was like, sure, of course. So I started helping. And then basically him and his business partner were like, hey, we want to grow this thing. We want someone who's young, hungry, can hustle, and wants to build, and can basically be our first employee. And I was like, that's me. I was like, I don't want to go do the Wall Street thing. I was like, I had a kind of early recognition in college of like, just the philosophy that the biggest risk we can take is not taking the risks on things that we want. And waking up in 20, 30, 40 years and being like, shit, I didn't do it. I knew that maybe I have money, but like I followed the path that I knew I could do, not the one that I wanted. And so when this opportunity came, I was like, it was like the heavens open, and I was like, you're telling me I can travel, I can grow a business with someone else's brand. So I was more of an entrepreneur, which was an amazing experience. And so it wasn't quite corporate, but it was a small business. And so there was an existing brand, there was infrastructure, there was other people's money that were kind of behind it.
Gotcha.
And they basically were like, hey, you're the young guy, and they had some other stuff going on. They're like, do what you can with this thing. And so I just jumped in, man, and went after it. And so that was kind of how I started into entrepreneurship. I always kind of treated it like this is my business. Eventually I got equity, and so I'm still a partner in that company too.
Oh, okay.
But But yeah, that was kind of the initial driver.
When you really think about it, I travel myself a lot, and it's like the logistics, man. That's the worst part about traveling.
Yeah, it's intense.
There's so many little details like that people don't see behind the scenes what it takes to have a well planned out trip, right? When you travel with the planes, the tickets, the hotels, all of that stuff. So how do you came about? I'm gonna turn that into my own business, right? How was that transition? And what made you pull the trigger into like, I'm going to just do it my own?
It's a great question because it was really two things. Number one was after 7 years of working with these other guys in the company, I had this internal knowing like, dude, I could create something on my own. And I wanted to know what I was made of on my own. It's different when you kind of have someone else to kind of hide behind a little bit, right? And I was like, I want to know what I can do on my own, where if I fail, it's on me. If I succeed, it's on me. And so there was a drive to want to do something that was my own thing.
Okay.
And then secondly, the honest truth is I saw a lot of people that probably live in Miami now that were like 23, 24 at the time. And I would look at the person on social media and I'd be like, this guy's cool. He's a nice guy. He's clearly working hard. He is not that smart and he's making like $30K a month and I'm pissed. And I was like, if this guy can
biggest
do it,
realization ever. Yeah. He's not that smart, bro. I can do that.
I was like, if he can do it, I got to do something. And so I wanted to start this business because it was something I was passionate about as a skill set. But dude, to be honest, I had no idea how to monetize it because it's not like most businesses that are like, here's the out of the box way to start an accounting firm. Like, I don't. When I first started doing outreach and marketing, people didn't know what a travel hacking consultant service was. So there was a lot of education, a lot of product market fit that I had to go through, and it took a long time to get traction because of that. But in the end, because I was willing to stick with it, it created a little bit more of a blue ocean, and then I started to come in and kind of like take a better stronghold on the market for that because of. Most other people weren't willing to stick it out that long.
Yeah, I mean, let's frame it out. Let's break it down for people because I want to understand your business model. How is it that you do? Is it like a concierge service that you do for business owners, or is it kind of like an educational type of way that you educate them on and they teach them how to do? What is it? How does it work?
Yeah, so we have different tiers, and in a lot of businesses, right, there's an ascension model.
Yeah.
You get someone in low ticket and the same avatar, like the same person, you're helping them along their journey with you. For us, it's slightly different because we do have an academy where people are learning, or we have something like we've worked together with like where an assistant can go through and get trained.
Okay.
And then we also have service, like high level hands-on concierge service. And then we have one tier that's kind of in between where it's more a la carte service though. And the reason we have it like that is because we want to help entrepreneurs as a whole maximize their travel more efficiently, create the experiences they want in their life. But the entrepreneur who wants to learn is not going to become the entrepreneur who needs a white glove service anytime soon, right? Okay. The person who wants to learn usually has a lot of free time, or they're just younger and hungry, and they're probably not going to become like an 7 to 8 figure business owner in like the next year, right? So it's not really easy to ascend someone like that. So we more have tiers that are based off of how busy and how much the person's traveling and spending. So our highest tiers.
So either they want to learn themselves, or they want kind of like a guided, service, or they just want completely hands off. You offer all three tiers.
Exactly. Yeah, we're working with guys like Ty Lopez all the way down to like, and then he's in like our highest tier, and then we have guys that are like, I don't even have a business yet, but I want to be a digital nomad, and I want to get funding to start, and I want to use points.
Okay.
Let me go through a course and be on your mentorship calls to learn.
Nice. That's good because you basically target everybody. I mean, it goes from everybody that wants to enjoy travel. You can help them.
If you're a U.S.-based business owner, you travel, that's it.
There you go. Yeah, hit him up right there. You know what I mean? You want to start traveling the right way. That's the guy to contact. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. And one thing I wanted to know is when it comes to travel hacking, right? A lot of people don't know what they can do with points, what they can do, having the right credit cards. There's so much to it that is insane.
Yeah.
Myself, I've learned about this information for years, but I've never actually like gone deep into the travel end. I went more kind of like the business route to leverage credit to grow my business, XYZ. How do you come across this information, right? When it comes to credit, learning the credit game, learning how to maximize travel. How do you come across this information? Yeah,
when I first started, there was less social media accounts and stuff like that to even learn this stuff. So really you had to go out and intentionally find it on your own. I first heard about it actually on a podcast in like 2014. So it was early days for podcasting. But I was like, that's interesting. And I came back to it a couple years later. But it was, dude, for me, it was a lot of reading blogs, watching YouTube videos, like reading the freaking credit card website. Like it was thousands and thousands of hours. But keep in mind, I was doing this because I loved to travel.
Yeah.
And personally, and I was like, I realized one day, actually, this is a cool moment. It was my first business class seat overseas, and I get on the plane. I'm making like $30K a year, and I'm in a $7,000 seat, but I paid $6. So I'm like, this is like a quarter of my salary. I'm around all these like CEOs and wealthy people, and I do not belong here, but I got here for free, and these people probably paid for it. And I was like, okay, I'm hooked. So what happened is I started to read and research a lot, but I didn't have any plan to start a business with this. It was just out of personal necessity. So that was it. And then once I realized like, oh, there's a business opportunity here.
Yeah.
I realized like I already pretty much have the foundation of all the knowledge that I need. And there were just a couple kind of finishing pieces to find. And so that was pretty much it.
Nice. One thing that how you like the coffee, by the way? You liked it?
This coffee.
I put him on,
fire.
bro. Cuban coffee.
If you're listening, you come to Miami. You
gotta
come
get your
to
Cuban
Cafe
coffee.
Manny right here.
But yeah, man. So one thing that I want to do in this episodes, and we normally talk about, is like, you know, the growth process to be able to scale a business, because I feel not a lot of people have the vision to actually go for a 6-7 figure business, right? I feel a lot of people are missing kind of like that leap of faith, that belief level. Because yeah, you can get to 6 figures a year on your own, right? But to get that leap of faith into 7 figures and to having a whole system working for you and a team, it takes a different level of belief. What would you say was it for you that made you take that leap of faith into, okay, I built up a business, I'm making some money. How do I take it to the next level? How do I build a system? I mean, even hiring people. Let's talk about that, right?
Yeah, it's
that's a process. Because now it's not just you. Now people are depending on you, right?
Totally.
So for you, how was that? How was that?
There's a lot there. So first off, initially when I started this, I took a philosophy that's called the 2 trains philosophy. Have you heard of this?
No, talk to me.
So basically, I had one income source already, my main business.
Okay.
And I was making a certain amount. So that's like basically one train going a certain mile per hour. That's my income like velocity. I didn't switch full time into this business until this business was producing the same as the other train. So it's like you don't jump on this off of this train until this one's going the same speed or faster. So a lot of people will take something that maybe they have like a job or something, and they're just going to jump all in and start something from scratch with no momentum. You can do it, but to me, you're going to probably think a lot more short term, because you're going to feel like, holy shit, I have to make this work in the next month. So there's some benefit to having your back against the wall in that situation.
Yeah.
There's also some downsides. I was a little more calculated with that, so I didn't have to think like week to week, month to month. I could kind of think longer because I was secure with the existing income, and I could think a little bit longer about who I want to hire, when I want to hire them, all that stuff. And that allowed me to have higher standards for who I was bringing in. So that was part of the hiring philosophy. But overall, I mean, it definitely takes a big leap of faith, a lot of courage. Yeah. And honestly, for me, it's not even necessarily faith that the business is going to work. It's the faith that I know if it doesn't work, I'll figure something out. Because that allows you to be like, you don't want to be delusional and be like, this business is 100% going to work. No one knows that.
Yep.
No, the reality is no one knows. Like, you're going to take risks and take steps. Things are going to happen. The market's going to change. COVID is going to happen. And things are unpredictable. So
when things like that happen, like, all you got to know is you figure your way out of it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Just like anyone else would, right? So that was kind of, once I realized that, and I realized that like most of the other people that I see that are successful, also kind of on some level, like if they're successful, that means they're in a place in their life where they've never been before. So they're still figuring out, like everyone's just figuring it out. You know, you start to realize like less people know what they're doing than you think.
Yeah.
You know, and so that gave me a lot of freedom and permission to be like, well, if they can do it, then I should go for it. Yeah. So that was kind of the idea.
That's great for people to understand, because from the outside looking in, when you're in social media and you're seeing all these successful guys and they're traveling like you, bro, like I want to be on the road like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's mind plays games, and then you start comparing yourself with other people. It's like, why can't I do that? Or like, how they're doing it? Or like, they know their stuff. Yeah, man, one thing you gotta know is like most people don't know what the fuck they got going on. Right? They just going through life, man. Right. And yeah, some people are making money, some people they look like they're making, but they're not really making anything.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. Just go pull the trigger. If you have the vision, the goal, and you have in your head a plan that you think it might work, just pull the trigger and go do it, because you never know. What if it works? A lot of people, what if it doesn't? But what if it works? Right,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I like to tell people. That's great that you took that leap of faith, and you've grown your business. I remember when I met you, it was Ravi's event.
Yeah.
Ravi's mastermind. I was a few years ago.
Probably 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. Did you have your business back then, or were you just starting? I don't remember.
I was, I had it, but it was like, we were...
Early stage?
Early stage. Like, it was probably me, a VA, and like one other kind of part-time person.
Because you have grown like crazy, man.
Yeah, it's been
the
great.
Business has
cool.
been.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, what is your biggest tier package? Like, what do you charge more or less for?
$15K.
$15,000.
Yeah.
And that's the concierge, everything included. You take care of all of it.
Yeah, exactly. Our packages will range a little bit depending on how much they spend and how much they travel.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like, an accountant will project how much they can save you. It's the same thing for us. When someone comes in and we're like, okay, this person's, flying back and forth to India with a family of 6, business class 5 times a year, and they have 10 other domestic trips. They're staying in hotels and they spend $300K a month. We could save that person like well into the 6 figures in value, right? The other person who spends $10K a month and they travel monthly, the opportunity for us is not quite as big.
Gotcha.
So so $15K would be the higher.
Depending
the higher
on
than
what level of traveling they do.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, tell us something how do you get those business trips that you drink your champagne and all of that? You pay a few dollars, pennies on the dollar. Give us something, a quick hack that the audience could take home.
Sure.
In terms of traveling and some value there that you could do.
Absolutely.
What would you say is,
So I'll share a couple of different common mistakes and then how to do it the right way that most people don't really know. And so the first thing is you want to earn the right points. And you want to optimize your spending by using the right cards. But earning the right points is one of the most important pieces. And by the right points, I mean points that can be transferred from a bank to an airline or hotel loyalty program. Okay. So there's 4 programs that can do that: Chase, Citi, Amex, and Capital One. There's a new one built, which is smaller, and you can transfer those too. But they'll partner with certain airlines and hotels. And because of that opens up this opportunity for you're in trading for a lot of arbitrage, points arbitrage.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Because the way that it works is, let's say a business class ticket to Europe is $6,000, right? You could pay $6,000 in cash, or you could go to the bank's, what we call the travel portal. So if you go to Chase Travel, Amex Travel, Bank of America Travel, they're going to give you that's where you book through, yeah. So they're going to give you a fixed value on your points, 1 cent per point in most cases. So $6,000 through the travel portal is 600,000 points, which is a lot, right? It's a ton of points. But if you use the transfer partners, where you convert it from Amex into Air Canada, for example, and you book that flight over to Europe, it might only cost you $60,000.
I actually did that. You remember you put me on.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known about this stuff for a while, but I just never done it. And then one day I call you, like, bro, how do we do this? I saw a video you sent me, and I literally, I don't know if I got lucky or what, but like that same day there was a flight available to Madrid, and I got it for like 60,000 points.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when
I was like, what? In like seconds, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can, sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes it takes more research, and you have to like search for different airports and dates and airlines and the partner website, and it can be way more complicated every time it just opens like that. But that's where the magic is, because when you do that and you're like, not only was it free, it was 1/10 of what the normal free cost is.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's like, what the hell? So
insane, Bobby.
That's how someone like me, that I don't spend that much. I mean, $20,000 a month inside of my business, nothing crazy. But that's how I'm able to get $100,000 a year in free travel, is because I'm able to leverage it like that. If I wasn't doing the transfer partner thing and I just went to the travel portal, which is what most people are going to do, I'd probably get like, 15 to 20K out of that.
So just by knowing basically how to allocate those points, you can literally spend hundreds of thousands of dollars less. And that's what you do for business owners, right?
Exactly.
Do you have, because I've tried to do it myself, man, and it just gets to the point. I even have my assistant on it. I remember we talked about it. And it just gets really, really tricky to find the flights.
Yeah.
I was stuck in Italy for like a night because it's like, how do I get out of here now? And then I'm like, I can't find a flight. I got to Italy, and then I was like, I didn't have a return flight. I was like, all right, let me just go. I got shit ton of points. Let me just book a flight. Right. To find that flight on the night, it took a minute.
So
totally. Do you have like a software, a platform where you run through a specific, flights and it finds you the flight, or is more like manual labor that you actually got to go look for them one through one?
There are some apps and softwares that are coming out, some AI tools, but they're not that effective, especially if you don't know how to use them well. Because one of the big things is like the routing.
Yeah.
And the software won't show you that. So like, let's say you're trying to go from Rome to Miami. There's a couple direct flights, but the reality is the odds of you getting that direct flight aren't super high. There's a much higher chance that you might go Rome to New York and then New York back down, or you might go Rome to Paris and Paris to Miami. And so you have to know all the different kind of routes to search from, and then which airline sites to search on for that. So you can use some software to help expedite the process, but a lot of them don't capture everything. So like our team will use that, but we always are checking things manually too. So like when a client's like, hey, here's my travel. We're usually going manually to their site, to the airline sites, and we're looking for the best option. And so there's certain airline sites that are going to be better to search on than others for both point availability and just like how they display things.
Gotcha.
So some sites will show you like the whole month of availability in like one view. Other ones you have to click through like each day, right? So you want to know like if you're going to do that, how to expedite the process, even if you are doing it manually too.
Yeah, I did Dubai recently, a couple of months ago, and I did that. I went Miami, I think it was Washington or something. I don't remember. Miami, another state, and then Dubai, because there wasn't any direct first class from Miami to Dubai.
Right. Yeah.
So I had to do that. It
Totally.
took me forever to find the flight.
Yeah.
I gotta get you on.
Yeah.
We gotta work, bro.
Yeah.
It took forever.
Well, so there's even layers to it from that too. So like Dubai is a great example. So because Emirates will operate, they do operate that direct from Miami to Dubai. They have a business class.
Yeah.
They have the 777 that flies here, but even the aircraft type is different. So a lot of people see, if you look at my Instagram, you'll see like Emirates A380 first class. I've showcased that one a couple times, which is
Is that the one that has a shower?
that's the one with the shower. Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
I've been to Dubai 2 times
Yeah.
already, and I haven't
Give
been
him
able
a
to get
shower.
the shower.
Give this man a refund.
I need the shower.
So the point is, right, like that flight is insane. It's worth, from New York to Dubai when I flew that last year, it was $15,000
Yeah.
in cash. So 1.5 million Amex points if I went through Amex Travel. It was 136,000 points, and then I paid $500 in taxes by transferring. But I'm based in Austin. If I was looking from, Austin or other cities throughout the U.S., I wouldn't see the A380 aircraft. I would see the 777. And so that's not the one with the shower, right? And if you want the caviar, the bar, the shower, you need to go to the right airport to fly out of. And even sometimes they'll operate like different models of the aircraft. So Emirates also has like a 777 airplane.
Yeah.
And then there's like a new model and an old model. So like
You have to know your planes too.
you have to know. You have to know. That's basically the idea.
You know what happened to me the first time I flew out of Dubai first class was the beginning of the year. I walk in and the first thing I asked the lady was like, "Where's the shower? I want the shower." And she's like, "We don't have it here.
Yeah.
We don't have it on this plane." I was like, "What?"
That'll happen all the time, man. That'll happen all the time. Yeah.
So
totally.
you have to know more. It's not just like booking and transferring. There's a lot of details
Totally.
on the process.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Obviously, you have someone that have the experience, that has the background, that knows this stuff. Because I had no idea. I just did transfer, booked the plane. I was like, I'm gonna just go to Dubai. I'm gonna get in the shower. Right.
Yeah.
No shower.
Yeah.
So that sucked. But
Exactly.
but yeah, man, it's great to know that the possibilities out there for people to actually enjoy and travel with pennies on the dollars.
Yep.
I feel education is great because when you're traveling, and you can tell me a little more about this, but like Europe, all these places, it helps you open up your mind to a whole different dimension. You get to see all of this and experience all of this, and you don't really need that much money to do all of this.
Totally, man.
Right?
I mean, that was initially the biggest driver for me. It was like I was so excited to go see the world, go check out all these amazing places we have on the planet.
Man.
And I was like, oh my God, this is like one of my life goals is to like go travel the world and see more of the culture. And if I can do that while I'm building my business, not saving money and like in 30 years do it, I'm like, I can do it now. I was like, this is amazing. So that was a big driver, but it is a big shift. I think especially Americans, we tend to, stay pretty insulated and like don't travel as much. And I think most cultures, they have more of a tendency or propensity to want to like do a gap year and go travel. And so I think creating a little more space in your life for those kinds of things is important because, when you're in your day to day, when you're running your business, when you're in the place where, it's just your normal environment, it is just going to be a little bit more difficult to get perspective on your life in a way that you can get when you're gone, right? When you're outside of your home, you're outside your environment, there's not the same kind of things that put you into the same state day to day.
Yeah, if you're in a bubble.
Things.
You're in a bubble.
Totally.
A lot of people go through life in 10, 20 years, 15, corporate's one of those, it's because it's like you wake up and you do the same thing for the next, Monday through Friday, and then you look up for the weekends, and comes the weekend, you're already getting ready for next week, right?
I know.
So it's like that race that you never get to see outside that bubble.
Yep.
So I feel like it doesn't matter if people are building a business or they just have like a regular job, 9 to 5, understanding credit and understanding everything you teach on, how to optimize points can open up the doors for people to go see the world, no matter what economic situation they're in.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
I feel as a big thing. And let's talk a little bit about, your nomad life.
Yeah.
Where are you located right now, full time? Like,
So I'm in Austin, Austin, Texas. Yep. I almost moved to Miami a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I did like 8 to 9 months of like almost a year of like full nomad where I was just hopping around and I was looking at the different places to live and I was like really close to moving here, but I decided to go to Austin. This would be a little too close to some temptation for me. I was like, if I'm in the stages where I really want to like be grounded and build, I'm like, I know myself well enough to be like, Miami would be fun, but maybe too much fun. So
how was this for, doing the nomad life, traveling and building your business? Were you building your business when you're doing this?
Yeah.
How was this experience for you?
Man, it was a combination of like the most alive you can ever feel.
Okay.
And also exhausting as hell. Because we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but like, you're on the move. Like there's so many smaller things to think about throughout the day that you normally don't have to put energy into. Where am I going to eat? What's the next like flight I'm going to take? Checking in. Oh shit, I got to check out. Oh, my bag. Oh, I didn't get laundry. Like small things that take up a little bit of your energy make it, harder to pour that same energy normally that would go into the business. So there's a massive value of obviously having a stable place if you're trying to grow. But if you want to have like adventure and have a lot of fun while building your business and you want to experience something different, it totally just depends on the season. I don't think either one's right or wrong. It just depends on where you're at. Doing it while traveling can be an absolute blast. And I think, it'll shape different perspectives for you that you wouldn't get if you're not traveling. So there's an upside to it for sure. But after a while, I was like, okay, time to hunker down. Like this was a little too much. And so I now have a home base, but still, I'm on the road.
You're
all the
still
time.
on the road.
Yeah.
How was the productivity when you were traveling and building the business?
Yeah.
Do you have like certain routine or certain times that you like, I'm going to just lock this time of the day to put in the work, or were you just going by it? Like how was it?
I have a few non-negotiables when I travel.
Okay.
Certain things about like workout, exercise, and diet that I'm like, if I'm not meeting these, it's almost like a check engine light. Like I have to shut it down.
Okay.
Because it's like internally, like just for myself, I'm like, if I'm not taking care of my health and stuff like that, then like, the rest isn't gonna work. So I don't try to put too many rules in place because then it becomes like really frustrating. It creates more friction than it serves me with. So that's how I typically do it. But when it comes to like the time structuring, I didn't really. Initially, I had a lot of the kind of rigidity around like my work scheduling, but I honestly started to just follow more when I was getting like more kind of like flow state, and like sometimes it'd be like at 10 p.m. Yeah. Maybe times when I'm traveling, I'm like, cool, it's 10 and I'm just in the zone. I'll work till like 3 tonight.
Okay.
And I would do that every now and then. So when I'm home, I don't really operate like that. But when I was doing nomad life, it was a little more free flowing. I also had I had a little more flexibility with my time at that point because we didn't have as big of a team.
Okay.
And so now with a team,
it's different. You have
different.
more responsibilities, things.
Exactly. Like I'm not sending out Slack messages at 3 a.m. expecting a response. Yeah. So it's slightly different.
Where's your team based out of right now?
We are we're completely remote. I mean, half of our team is living this stuff quite a bit anyway. So it's like
they're traveling too. They're nomad, all of that.
Yeah. So initially we thought about we we should create like kind of a central hub, and then we're like, none of us would be there at the same time. Like, that's not a good idea. But we have it's probably like 7 of us in the States, and then a couple in the Philippines, a couple in Central America, a couple in Europe.
What are you at now? 15?
Yeah, 15
employees.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, let's dive right into your business a little bit because I want to help out people when it comes to the hiring process.
Yeah.
Finding the right people. First of all, you gotta have the vision because I mean you're charging $15,000 a month, is it right?
No, that's an annual.
A year. Okay, so $15,000 a year per client. Most people can't even see themselves charging that much. I mean, it's a high ticket product.
Yeah.
So once you said I'm gonna start charging this, right? What was it that kind of like unlocked that for you? Did someone just offer you out of the bat, I'm gonna pay you more for you to do this, or was it something that you said, all right, it's time for me to level up. Let me have a bigger tier, higher tier project. How was that?
Yeah, it was incremental, and then we started to see just like. So I basically initially had found someone who I was going to bring on to help consult with clients. So this is my now business partner.
Okay.
And I just thought this guy knows points really well. I know the business side, and he likes business, but his passion's the points. I love travel and points. My passion's business. It was like perfect fit. But initially I just thought he would be like a consultant that would kind of come on and hand clients to.
Gotcha.
And then he just was a machine. And he would like turn it on. I was like, damn, this guy's crushing. So brought him in as a partner.
Nice.
So he oversees our back end. That's when our results started to skyrocket because he's really, really good and cares a lot. And so then we would start to quantify everything because it's all numbers.
Yeah.
So we can just see, holy shit, we just saved that person $100K in 6 months. We're like, the price we're charging doesn't even make sense. Like it's too low. So eventually we just started to see that. And so it made sense when we would look at the amount we were saving. We had the confidence, the credibility, and the track record for it. And then we would forecast out what we're going to save this person. So charging $15K was just like, makes sense.
Then you start looking at clients right at the bat.
Yeah, it started to make sense. We don't, and a lot of our services aren't that high. We have, they range depending between Our main services are between 4 to 10K. So the 15K is like the highest we'll go, but most people are cheaper than that.
Yeah, because actually the reason I'm asking is because I was talking to a few friends the other day, and I was telling them that no matter what business it is that you have, people will pay you. You have to have a higher ticket offer because people will pay you for what you know. It's just about packaging in the right way and kind of like making sense of the numbers. Because if I tell you right now, I give you $1, right? I'll give you $2 for every dollar you give me. Like it's the no-brainer.
Right.
Here's the money. It's what you said.
Yeah.
You're able to save someone $100,000 a year. Like here's 15.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Just go save me 100,000.
Right.
It's a no-brainer. So when it comes to framing, I tell people when it comes to building your high ticket offer, you just have to make people money. Like people don't really care what you do if you make them money or save them time.
Yeah,
that's all it is. Every business. People ask me, yo, what's the key? Just make people money or save them time.
Yeah.
Like,
I think there's also a factor, what I've seen is like the likelihood for the amount that you're going to create for them or save for them, like how guaranteed that is. So a lot of people have coaching programs where the outcome could be really big if they implement it well and if it works, like a business coaching program. So you can charge high ticket for it, but there's still a lot on the table for that person to execute. A lot of things need to go right, and it can 100% be done, but there's still more risk from the buyer. You know, it's kind of like Hermosi's Grand Slam offers where it's like how much risk is there for them. With this, the fortunate thing for us is it's pretty much just math and numbers. Yeah. And so there's not a lot of like input from them, and there's not a lot of risk that doesn't really happen. So that's kind of the beauty of also charging a little bit higher is like the savings that we're talking about, they're not 100% guaranteed because something can happen with the flight, but they're pretty damn likely that we're going to be able to save you a lot. And that factors into, I think, when someone's starting something is not just how much you can save them or how much you can make them, but it's how likely is that result to happen with how much effort from the person that's buying.
So how low or high is the risk? You
right.
know, that's what determines how they're going to go
exactly.
for it, if they're going to go for it.
Exactly.
Makes sense. So going back to your team, what would you say someone that is growing their business right now, what is the key for you to hire someone? Like, what do you look for when it comes to finding the right either partners or, team members? Because I think it's key. Like, you can do 6 figures on your own, but you're not going to go to 7 without a team. I mean, to do the high tickets, to do the consulting, to do all of this stuff, you need smart people, the right people with you. So how is that on your end? How do you handpick the people that you work with?
Totally. So I think Jim Collins from Good to Great has a great philosophy in this. It's like get the right people on the bus and then get the right people in the right seat. And so for me, I would like the first thing I'm just looking at is like character, like, do I want to hang out with them? Yeah. Would I want to go grab lunch with them, or am I looking at them where it's like there's just no overlap of personality and interest, and you're just not someone I want to hang with? Because ultimately, I mean, like building a team, like, if you're the business owner, you're creating the team, but you're also a part of the team. Yeah. Maybe at some point you kind of remove yourself entirely, but like you want to be building a team with people that you are going to be hearing from and you're excited to talk with. So off the bat, for me, that's like the first thing. And then the second pieces, or the second and third piece really would be previous track record, really important. And it doesn't have to necessarily be in the role that we're hiring them, but I just want to know that they've been able to show some of the character traits and attributes that you look for in a successful person. Discipline, overtime, integrity, that kind of stuff. For me, those are super important. Like the core kind of competencies of just like someone that you can really trust and have a good relationship with. And then lastly, I guess it depends on the role, like how technically skilled they need to be. But I think the ambition piece is great too. Because we've had a couple people we've brought on where they don't know a lot yet, but they have the other stuff, and then they're hungry. And it's like, go learn all this, come back in 2 weeks. And they come back in a week and a half and they're like,
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm impressed.
I feel those are the best ones. Man.
Yeah. If you can find someone that's young and hungry, like that is fun. Yeah. Because they bring juice and they push you to be better too. Because like, damn, this guy is working. Like, I need to.
Yeah, he's outworking you. So you're like, all right, I'm gonna get out.
Yeah, exactly. Which is always like, you just gotta respect that too. So I think sometimes the ego can get in the way. You hire someone great, they start to shine a lot, and like you almost want. Sometimes people are like, oh, like they're gonna make me feel bad about like they're outworking me and it's my business. But it's like, no, that's a great sign.
That's the hires you need.
Exactly.
I always like to say, when it comes to your team, you want people who are smarter than you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
You just look for people that can outwork you, because that's the people you want in your business. It's your business. So why would you start complaining he's doing more than me? I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah,
well, that brings up, I think an important piece of hiring and entrepreneurship in general is the reality is everyone has insecurities that come up as you grow in life. Relationships, business, all this stuff. in business, a lot of insecurities that you don't even know exist might come up as you start to make new moves. You hire someone who's really smart, and then all of a sudden you start to feel like, oh, are they gonna like outmaneuver me in my own company? I was like, I never even had that thought before. What the hell is that about? And so there's some internal processing sometimes that has to go on to get to the next level so that you can make the right hires and keep them and not accidentally like sabotage yourself. I see a lot of people do that kind of stuff. So I do think that's important too, and something that's not really spoken on a ton unless you're going to an event like Tony Robbins and things like that, where you're really working on the mindset and getting clear. But that I've noticed that a couple times for other folks as well.
It's crazy because, and I like the analogy of the bus, because I always like to say, it might not be the right time for you to have certain employees in your business. Maybe it's out of your budget, right? Maybe it's not the right time for you to pay them what they're worth. But if you find the right people, figure out a way to keep them around when the right time comes, you have them. Because it's hard to find the right people. Mm-hmm. It's hard to find the right people that are aligned with your vision, that they're good, and then on top of that, you can, what you said, you can relate to them. So what I tell people also is, you're building a business, if you find the right person, figure out a way to hang out around them. Figure out a way to keep them around, because maybe you can't afford them right now, but in the future, when you grow, then that's just one call away. Totally. Like, don't burn bridges when it comes to employees, because building the team is like one of the biggest parts of growing your business. Yeah,
I agree. Just planting seeds long time. I mean, the time horizon that we look at plays such a big factor, right? It's like, if you're not trying to create relationships because you're trying to monetize it, if you're not trying to create relationships because you need something today, it's just you think they're a good person, you can, add value just by being in each other's lives. It's like, you never know where it's going to go. But I think for our demographic of people, like younger entrepreneurs, our time horizons tend to be really short. Yeah. Like, just because everything's so instant gratification, it's like, I stuck out grinding through the initial stages of my business for a year, which in reality is nothing. Like, if you asked someone 20 years ago that was starting a company, and you're like, hey, it's going to take a year of just like nothing for you to succeed, they'd be like, of course. If you ask someone today who's like 23, like, hey, you guys stick something out for a year and you're going to get no results, they'd be like, a year? I can't even go 2 months. Yep. So I think it's like, if you have that longer time horizon, just the way you can navigate the business landscape is going to be way better.
Yeah, it's having a different perspective, and that it kind of impressed me, because I asked you, we were there just getting the coffee ready, and I asked you, about your goals, and you said like 20 years down the line, 10 years, right? 30 years. Yeah. And we barely hear that. We don't hear that often, right? When you ask someone about goals, like, here's what I'm trying to do like next month, or here's what exactly. I'm trying to do for the next 6 months, a year. So it's hard to find the people that have that vision of like, I'm doing this for the next 20 years. Like, what do you want me to tell you, right? Yeah. So having that perspective, it helps out a lot of people to understand that it's fine if the business goes wrong for the next 6 months. If you don't make a penny for a year, like, it's completely fine, because if you think about it, what you just said, to build a brick and mortar business takes years. Any other, you know what I mean? It takes 5-10 years to just get it off the road, then to get it going. So like, it's okay. Just take your time. Be patient.
Totally. And I'll be honest, part of the travel hacking thing was I knew, even in the tour company I was at, especially that business, because it was even harder to scale. Yeah. I was like, this is going to take a while, and I'm okay with it. Like, I think I think the longer the business can take to build, the harder it is going to be for it to fall sometimes. If it goes up in 2 days, sometimes it's hard to keep it there, right? That probably means it'll come down fast too. But the point is the travel hacking thing was a way for me to be like, but I can still enjoy the lifestyle that I want, even though there's a long vision here, right? Because that was important for me. I would have felt somewhat restricted if I was like, I can't do any of the things that I want because I have to just make less income because I'm sticking out for a long-term business. So I found a way to still make it work. I think that's important. It doesn't mean give up on the lifestyle goals. It means be more creative to find ways to get what you want, but still have that long-term vision at the same time.
Yeah, because when you're building a business from the ground up, and we'll take a little bit back to when you started your own business, sometimes you have to sacrifice short term for you to get to that vision, to that goal. Because traveling is fun and all, but you spend money doing it, right? There's money, so if you're building a business, depending what stage you're in, like, there's certain things you can't afford to do, right? You gotta just dial in and focus on building. How was that stage for you at the beginning? Anything that you said, I got to let go of this to focus on the business. How long was that phase for you?
Yeah, man. I mean, especially when I was starting out with the tour company, I was working 3 different jobs, driving Uber, actually 4. I was building a tour company, I was driving Uber, I was coaching baseball lessons, and I was working at a restaurant.
Boom.
Like, at the same time. And still, there would be weekends where, like, I'd be with my friends, I'd be like, yo, we're going to the bar, like we're gonna Uber, and I'm like, dude, I can't Uber.
I can't do that.
I have to drive. And they're like, come on, man, just hop. And I'm like, no, dude, I can't spend the money. Like it was embarrassing to be honest, but I was like, this is where I'm at, man. This is the real deal. So there were a lot of times where I had to sacrifice stuff, but sacrifice can feel good if you know it's because you're choosing something bigger, right? If you're just sacrificing things, but there's no bigger vision or reason behind it, then it sucks. It just feels like, damn it, I feel tied down and there's no reason that I should be here. But if you're like, I'm doing this because I know that I can invest my time, my energy, my money into like the ultimate trajectory of where I want to take my life, then it kind of feels good. You know, it's kind of like staying disciplined in the gym. Like, you know, okay, you didn't eat the ice cream last night. That's a win, right? Like now you're in the gym again. You start to feel like you're getting the momentum. So I think the same thing applies when you're building.
Yeah, if you're having a clear vision of what it is that you're going, like it helps you kind of like, you know, you're sacrificing things, but you know where you're going. The same when something goes wrong or you lose money or things go by in your business is understanding that that's just part of the process. Here's where I'm going, and no matter what happens, I'm gonna get there.
Exactly.
So I feel having that mentality, that mindset plays a big role when it comes to scaling your business, building a new business, all of that. And that's something I wanted to ask you. So we were talking about Tony Robbins' event, and you know, all the mindset behind this, because you can know how to scale a business, you can know all the behind the scenes of working a business, but how did mindset and you know the right mentality, the self-development played a role in you scaling to the point that you're in right now?
Massive, man. Massive. So kind of what happened for me is in college, my junior year after I had the semester abroad, I had an amazing experience. I then came back and worked in a cubicle in an internship. Yeah. And the contrast of so much freedom, going out partying every night, traveling to different countries, like during my abroad season, like we did it right. And I came back and I was in a cubicle 9 to 5, punching numbers in spreadsheets. Yeah. The contrast of that created like a lot of kind of existential, like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I doing this? This sucks. I hate this. Is this really what life is about? I mean, they tell me that I'm supposed to just sit in a cubicle for like, I was like, hell no. So during that, I started to ask bigger questions, and that led me to like personal development stuff, but it didn't come pretty. Like there was a lot of breakdown, a lot of depression in that stage where it was just like figuring out what the hell life is about. Yeah. And through that, I started to, you know, try to find things, find solutions. And then all of a sudden I'm stumbling into the world of kind of a personal growth. And so I had a couple mentors that I really studied under and, you know, read tons of books, started listening to tons of podcasts, went to lots of conferences and events. And yeah, man, it was a game changer. It was a game changer. I think there's a couple in specifically Peter Sage was a huge one for me. He's a British guy, incredible. He was Tony Robbins' youngest ever trainer. And like, this guy blew my mind. And I like really elevated my life, my business because of him and the messages that he had. And that was ultimately what gave me so much juice and ambition and willingness to kind of like take risks, was from some of the mentorship and the mindset work that I did early on.
Yeah, I feel it plays a big role. It plays a big role in terms of vision and setting up the right goals and expectations. Totally. Let's talk about you, man. Where do you see yourself going in the next few years? 5 years down the line, 3 years down the line? What is Eli the travel guy doing? Right? What's the vision looking like for you?
Totally, man. Business? Totally. Yeah. So, I mean, I honestly love the travel industry so much. Like, I could see myself staying in that for a long time. Okay. And right now, we're still kind of early into this business right now, which is really exciting. We have many years to come of, I think, a really, you know, great business to continue to build. And going to see where that takes me, and kind of just check in along the way as to like, is this the right trajectory? Is it something we want to exit? Is it something we want to build into a just bigger brand? Like, what's the play there? That's not 100% signed, sealed, and delivered, but longer term, like staying in the travel industry, getting into the hotel space is really exciting for me. Like longer term, I think that'd be really, really fun. And that's like a big passion of mine, is creating amazing experiences and combining that with like the travel industry knowledge that I have. I could definitely see eventually getting into that. That's part of when I think about like the 20, 30, 40 year outlook, like something that's really big to get into. I could see that being a part of the game plan for me, but you never know where life's going to take you to. So you got to stay open. Know. But
so right now you're focusing mainly on flights, or you do everything? Hotels, accommodations, everything? So
we do the whole package. Like with the service, we do everything. When I mean the hotel stuff, I mean getting into the hotel industry, like opening hotel brands and stuff like that, like creating your own.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
That'd be much longer term.
Yeah. No, but
it
it's
takes
there,
some capital
man.
to get into that.
I mean, the capital. I feel the capital is never a problem. You have the right idea, capital will come.
Sure.
So it's like just setting the right expectations and getting the work in, and you will get there. Right? There's no way you don't. But yeah, man, tell us a little bit about your travel experience. What's your most favorite? Like, what's that country that you like? I would definitely gotta go back.
Oh man, so many.
Favorite place.
The first one that I would mention is gonna be right up in here. This guy.
What's that?
Japan.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, just ridiculous. You haven't
Never
doesn't look
been,
like you've
bro. Never
yeah.
been in that side of the world.
Yeah, so this country right here, to me, I mean, I haven't done a lot of Asia yet.
Okay.
I've done Thailand,
Uh-huh.
and some of the Middle Eastern countries that are technically Asia. But so I haven't done a lot of them. But I will say about Japan, I think it's amazing because when you get there, you are in Japan. Like when you go to Thailand and some of the other Southeast Asian countries from my travels and what I've talked to other people about, it's somewhat westernized. They're, you know, marketing to European tourists or American tourists and stuff, which there's nothing wrong with it, but it kind of dilutes the feeling of like the actual culture. When you go to Japan, it's like you're speaking like people are speaking Japanese. It's their way, and like I love that. I think it's cool.
in there.
You're in there, and it's like a different universe, man. The lights, the food, the cult, like the sidewalks have like no blade of grass in the wrong spot. Like the food is impeccable. Just the way the society functions is really fascinating to me.
Wow, that's nice.
So that would be one of them. And then one of my favorite experiences as well was in Uganda.
Okay.
So I did gorilla trekking there. That was with the mentor I mentioned, Peter Sage. He did a 10-day retreat through Africa, which was insane. And that was a blast, man. We went into the jungle deep in like the jungle of Uganda, and we saw like live gorillas this far away, and like it was really cool. So those are two of my favorites. But I mean, there's so many parts of Portugal are insane to me. So much of Europe is beautiful. And you were just in Costa Rica. That's one of my favorite places in the world too. So I really love Costa Rica.
It's nice. We were there for like 4 days. It was a short trip.
Okay.
But it's nice. It's definitely nice down there.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I like to surf, so there's some
you
really good
do?
surfing there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Really
You
good
gotta
surfing.
teach me, man. I'm trying to learn.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not at that level yet, but once I start getting up more, I'll
What's
come
the
around
best
and tell
place to surf? You would say Hawaii is it? I've heard.
Hawaii's really good. Portugal is amazing, and then you got a couple different places in some of these islands, like even like the Maldives and stuff have some insane waves. Bali, and then I mean South America's got a lot too. Really, anywhere with good coastline is going to have pretty solid surf. It's just more of like where do you want to be going? That's like a good place around the waves too. California, obviously, awesome as well. So
fire, man. Hey, listen. After you finish this podcast, you gotta book that flight, right? Get out there and start getting to know the world, because there's just so much out there to see that is incredible, and it helps you in every area of your life to expand your level of awareness. So, man, I want to know when it comes to building your business, there's always something that it helps you push through the downfalls, right? Like it's all great right now, you know, things are good and X, Y, Z, but we see a lot of the downturns in business every day, I would say, where you make mistakes, you lose money, all of that. What is your why? What would you say is the one thing that pushes you through everything and you keep on going?
Sure. So I'll share my favorite quote of all time, and this is kind of the essence of it, but it's don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, because what the world needs is more people who have come alive.
Oh, shit. I like this.
Yeah, so to me, it's like, it's not necessarily about what you create. It's like the process of doing it, the person you get to become, the experiences you get to have, how that shapes you. So when I've taken, and I don't always hold that perspective, right? Sometimes you lose sight of that, and that's when things get tough. But when I am able to really hold that, it's like even the down things become kind of exciting, right? It's like shit. How am I going to rebound from this? This is a weird situation. Like it becomes more exciting because you're not so attached to like the result, right? And then you see things as more of like a process. So for me, that's just part of the game, man. That's just part of what it's about. And I think ultimately, you know, like a bigger picture vision, like family, stuff like that, like creating a family and having amazing experiences for my kids, like that would be,
there's this family, I don't know, I think it's the Bucket List family, I think it's called.
Okay.
IG, that they just travel with their kids and everything. They
I don't
do
think
a
I know
bunch
that,
of traveling. I'll send it to you.
Cool.
It's awesome to see what they've been able to do with the entire family traveling.
Oh, that's so cool.
I see you doing that. You know what I mean?
You can live a creative life. You know Jesse Itzler as well?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. They've done a lot of cool stuff with their family, where they had like an RV and went across the country. And there's all sorts of ways to kind of carve your own path with that stuff. So I think that's amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. But no, man, it was great to have you. A lot of good information, a lot of good value. And what I like to do at the end, kind of like wrapping up the episode with every guest, is to ask you 2 questions. Not only for the audience, but for myself as well, to find a way to collaborate, you know, to do something together. And it is 2 questions. What do you have right now that you could offer the audience, you know, that you could add value to the marketplace? And what do you need? Is there something that you're looking to do, or, you know, some help that you need right now in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So best place to find me is going to be on Instagram. It's at Eli Travel Guy. And the thing that we have to offer right on there is going to be a free mini course. It's normally $50. But if you just DM me the word Mini, it's just MINI. We'll send you the link with a discount code. You can get in there. And if you want to learn some of the fundamentals, how to get started with this stuff, some of the foundations of credit, how to optimize points, the kind of myths and misconceptions, that's going to be a great starting place for you. That's going to consolidate all this information that's out there and bring it into one place for you so you can actually take action on it, which is the most important piece. So that's going to be the first thing in terms of something that's available for you guys. Also, my business partner, his page is at Travel Like Tommy. And if you want to just see the most insane free content of all time, like I travel really well, but he's getting like $300,000 a year of travel on points. And again, spending like 15, 20K a month. So he's nuts. He's got some really cool stuff. And then in terms of an ask, more opportunities to share the message, to share what's possible with travel and points, and really helping entrepreneurs create the life that they really set out to create. And so other opportunities to speak, share on podcasts, stuff like that would be amazing.
Fire, man. Let's do it. Again, great to have you here with us.
Thank you, man.
And I'm excited for the people to see this and to get to know you, follow you. We'll drop his information. The free course, we'll drop all the information down below so you guys can see it. Guys, that's a wrap. Another episode with Ellie, the travel guy, man, right here with us. Excited to have him. And I will see you in the next episode of Manny Talks. Let's do it. How you like that?
Boom.